Hi, I'm Everett. This is Christina. Welcome to the shop. We do have kind of a fun one this time. It's the 4,000 subscriber draw. And so I figured, she really is much better looking than I am. So anytime she's around and she can, then I like to have her in on it. And
you're so nice.
Everybody, you'll agree, correct? Yeah, she's way better looking than I am. The thing is, I've been trying to get this done all day, and then just one thing kept coming after another, and then, now that, little man's finally in bed, now we can actually, yes, finally. So now we actually have a bit of time to get caught up on a few things. So that's why we're doing this in the evening rather than an early afternoon like I had hoped. So just a reminder, this time the draw is for a 2 to 3 inch JT Slocomb micrometer. It's vintage. Adrian from Aid's Workshop has this guy's little brother, the 1 to 2, and we're figuring probably, 40s vintage, somewhere in that neighborhood. So, but it still works. It's still in decent enough shape. If you have a home shop, it's definitely still usable. In addition to the micrometer, there's a 6-pack of various assorted size drill bits here. They're Chinese cobalt, but they're cobalt, and a set of these will be in the bin as well. 1/8, 3/16, 1/4 inch, 7/16, 17/32 stubby, and a 5/8. So
they're tiny.
And mostly sharp. So what we'll do is we'll start off with the draw names. Every name that's been submitted right from day one is in here, apart from the ones that came in this last week. The 5 winners are in here. The winners clothespin, I guess you could call it. There's a title of honor for you. But what we'll do is we'll start off by taking all the original ones, make sure there's nothing stuck underneath. Oh, we're good. I was originally using the double boost hat, but I ran out of room. So unless double boost starts making like 10-gallon cowboy hat size, we'll have to stick with this. As well, we've had another just about 20 names come in over the last week, so we'll add those to the mix. Let's give it a mix up. Try not to stare at the screen too much because it creeps people out.
This is the fun part.
Yeah. So she got a name. Oh, it's a French name.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You're better at pronouncing.
Yeah. My best guess would be Mario Cloître. Again, congratulations, Mario. I'll be getting a hold of you and getting your address, and we'll send off the micrometer and the drill bits to you. So my apologies if I butchered the pronunciation of your name. I'll try my best. I'm certainly not bilingual. I know enough to sort of make my way around, but I'm certainly not bilingual. So anyway, congratulations, Mario. Otherwise, for what it's worth, again, these little draws I realize they're nothing huge, they're not big prizes or anything, but it's just been a lot of fun getting to hear from people from all over the world, and getting to know a bunch of you from, again, all over the world who are interested in the same sorts of things. So it's just a way of saying thanks and, having a little fun with it too. So thanks, honey. Thanks for coming in and drawing for me.
My pleasure.
So, yeah, she puts up with a lot, and I'm very thankful.
Oh,
so,
yeah. I'm very blessed.
She puts up with a lot, so. Yeah.
Goodbye, everybody.
Yep, she's way better looking than I am. I married up. I know it. So, I've also got another fun little bit of news. I had a package come this week, and for any of you who follow Randy Richard, which, pretty much everybody knows who Randy is, I got a little package in the mail from him. And he sent me a couple new stickers, as well as a little medallion. He makes these little medallion coins for everybody. I thought that was pretty cool. I got my own Randy Richards medallion now. I also got another one though. Any of you who are familiar with Randy's stuff, I got the little plastic box. I find it really neat how, as he's 3D printing these things, he's even managed to put, I don't know if you can see the texture on there, he even manages to put it's almost like a fake leather grain texture on the top. It's really cool. But yeah, I originally ordered one of the Dovetail cutters, but he wound up sending me two and wound up coming to him and afterward and whatever. But yeah, so I got myself a set of Randy Richards Dovetail cutters, which I do need for a project I'm kind of in the middle of. That, well, one of the numerous projects I'm in the middle of, because it seems like I get partway through one and then another person asks me to do something. But yeah, so thank you for that, Randy. Very cool. I'll definitely put those to good use. I do appreciate the fact these use indexable tool bits, simply because of the fact that I had a nice KEO dovetail cutter that I destroyed cutting dovetails into 1-inch tool holders, because I was cutting the dovetail straight into the industrial tool holders to go on my BXA post. Yeah, I destroyed my dovetail cutter doing it, so this will hold up a little better than that. As well, one of the other cool things in there, he sent me one of these little engravers. His new, this would be the new variant that he has with the tumbled finish. And I don't know if you can see that in there. Try to get it in nice and close. He engraved my shop name on it, so that's very, very cool. Thanks, Randy. So that, yeah, you know, I see you guys using these things, and it's a nice weight, and it's nice. I like it. So anyway, for the stickers, thank you for the stickers, Randy, and thank you for the dovetail cutters and the scribe. That was really cool. I'll put a link to his channel. Realistically speaking, if you're watching this channel, chances are you're already subscribed to him anyway, but on the odd chance you aren't, the link will be in the description below to Randy's channel. So thanks again, Randy. Now, as far as in the shop this week, it's been a little bit busy with life, the universe, and everything for us as a family. So between one thing and another, I didn't have a huge amount of time. I did get a little bit further in on tearing down the other parts and starting stripping paint on the shaper. I'll throw a little bit of footage of that in. My buddy Eldon came over and helped me with some of the disassembly, because some of it was just easier with two people. Let's just face it. Some of the parts were heavy. Otherwise, hope you find it interesting. So we're finally getting at tearing this thing down, getting the paint and stuff off of it, and getting the labels and such off before we take the paint off. Now, there are a number of these little labels, like this one here, for example, and we really didn't want to destroy it with paint remover or anything. So what we wound up having to do is we actually took a chisel and a putty knife, because these pins they didn't want to come out easily enough. Take the putty knife from the side and a chisel, and just managed to knock the heads off of the pins. I know it won't be 100% factory original, but I'm going to put these back in with machine screws. That way, if I ever need to get them off again, I can just unscrew them. But I mean, you look at those old labels. They're just, these old machine tools just have such a class to the labeling and the markings on them. So I thought that one was pretty cool. But what we'll do is I'm going to use paint stripper for the most part. The bottom portion here has the majority of the rust on the machine. I'm going to hit that with a wire wheel on the disc grinder, and then we'll do the rest of it with the paint remover. These holes in the corners, I'm probably going to drill out a little bit bigger and then tap to be able to put leveling feet underneath it, and we'll go from there. First step, though, is we definitely want to get all the rust and the paint off right now. My buddy Eldon's over, and he's currently disassembling some of the other parts, like the ram and the clapper box assembly. Once we get this all apart, we're going to start stripping all the paint down on the other parts too. So you get the basic idea of what we're doing here. Yes, I know it's a bit dusty in here. I'm going to open the garage door in a moment. The biggest thing is it's really loud, and considering the time of night it is, I really don't want to annoy my neighbors. So I'm going to pause it here. We're going to clean up the entire base like this around the bottom. And then we're going to start doing the paint stripper. I'm not going to do any of the paint till all the paint is off that I want off. Now, we're not going to show the entire machine with paint stripper on it and stuff like that, because well, quite frankly, you have better things to do with your life than watch paint strip. So what we'll do is just do a little bit of a highlight here and there. This is the ram from up top. We have a bit of surface rust on some of the bright surfaces here, and so what we'll do is we're just going to use a little bit of Scotch-Brite just to show you, because you can barely even see the marks there. And if we just use a little bit of Scotch-Brite, you can start seeing the numbers come out. I don't know if you can see that in the camera there, but I'm starting to see the numbers. And one fun thing too with doing it this way, that thin layer of corrosion made it into the lettering. So by doing this, actually it's bringing out a nice little contrast with the lettering. So that's what we'll do with with all the bright surfaces and anything that has to be cleaned up that way. Now as for the paint, what we'll do is we'll put on a pair of gloves so that the safety police don't get on my case. And well, just in case my better half is watching this, she doesn't get in my case either. I went and tried to find the nastiest paint remover I could find. This stuff here seems to be about the best I can find in local stores. Now I'm sure some of you industrial guys have access to some really good stuff, but this is about as good as I'm going to get. What's interesting is this stuff here is kind of like a jellied snot. Oh, jellied snot? Yeah, it's... So I'll put a little bit of... I got the part on a piece of cardboard here. And just, you take it and brush it on. And according to the directions, you're supposed to brush it on and let it sit for 15 minutes or so. Minimum. So what I'll do is I'll cover this whole thing with paint remover snot, and then we'll pause the camera and then bring you back in. So we've let the paint stripper sit for a little while and do its thing. It's nice and bubbled up, and as we go along like so, that paint's coming off very, very nicely. What's interesting is you can even see some of the filler on the casting from when they made it. They cast it and then they added this this coating just to sort of smooth over, kind of like a Bondo. Well, I guess it wouldn't have been a Bondo because, I mean, back then they didn't have the synthetics and such. But just to smooth off the casting, you see where some of that stuff is coming off, like over here. I don't think I'm going to bother with any of that filler. If anything, I might take and feather it back with a, flapper wheel or something like that. But I'm not going to bother with filler. But as you can see, just by giving it a bit of time for the chemical to work, and a couple spots here I may have to reapply again. No big deal. Yeah, a couple spots there I'm going to have to reapply. But this is coming off very nicely. And on the side. No, I don't have my gloves on now, but really the snot and the slime is pretty much soaked into the paint. As long as I'm careful, I'm not going to get it on my hands. That's coming off very, very nicely. One other thing that we noticed as it was coming apart, and Eldon noticed more so than I did, here's the clapper box frame, and he's looking on the inside, and I don't know if you can see, but there's a little bit of a line there. Yeah. See that? That's bronze. That's bronze filler rod. So I don't know if you heard me from the other video when I brought it home, where I suspected that it had a crash at one point in its life. So you can see that right there, the bronze. My suspicion is there was a point where it had a big crash of some type. That got damaged, and that would have been the same time when the ram lever itself kind of got messed up. Whoever repaired it real nicely with the bronze and such, but you know, I'm not going to be putting it through any sort of heavy abuse, but so it'll certainly still be strong enough for my purposes. But I was just rather surprised to see that, and Eldon and I were joking because we're thinking to ourselves, you know, when you see something like that, which poor apprentice just got his butt handed to him on a silver platter by the foreman after a horrendous crashing noise? You know, back in the old days, they didn't really pull punches either, so yeah, some poor guy got an earful, I bet. But anyway, this is the basic procedure I'm going to use with the paint stripper to get the paint off of this thing in the areas where I can't use the wire wheel. So I figured, why not? I'll just pop in, you know, for another couple parts here, show you as the paint comes off. Like I say, I'm not going to show you all the time I'm spending for paint removal, but I will admit this paint remover, I mean, I haven't used this stuff in years, but it is mesmerizing how just, you know, you smear this stuff on and, you know, it's like this really jelly snot-like consistency. And it's just so cool how it just lifts it up. Now, I'm curious about the chemistry of it. I know that, well, I've had it where brake fluid, I've accidentally spilled automotive brake fluid on painted surfaces, and, well, that bubbles up paint kind of like this. So I wonder, again, I'm not a chemist, I wonder if there are any of the similar compounds used in brake fluid that are used in paint remover. There's paint stripper stuff. And I knew about the damage to this piece here as I was taking it apart, so it's not a surprise. I probably won't make another one for now. This one's cast. What this is this is the, I can't remember the name of it, but this is the piece that goes on the same shaft as the bull gear, and then the automatic feed mechanism slides in this little slot here. So if you want it to move faster, as far as table travel sideways, you move the little clamp further out. If you want it to go, you know, shorter distance, you move toward the center. So, you know, with the damage that's on it, I think it'll still be functional, so I may just roll with it for now. Who knows, maybe at some point I might make a new one. Maybe, you know. But in the meantime, I just want to get this thing functional and looking nicer. Again, not doing a full concourse restoration. My suspicion is that when this thing got crashed, it got repaired in this ugly green. I mean, it wouldn't be bad otherwise, but it was ugly because of the fact it had the other paint, whatever, coming through the bottom. It had this other green come through, but they painted it with this other green color. And I have a suspicion they did that after all the oopsie damage was repaired to it. Anyway, more scraping, more sliming. I'll check back in with you in a bit. So I hope you found it interesting. Again, only got a few bits done on the shaper so far. I found a bit more damage than I had originally anticipated, but again, for my purposes, I think this machine will still work fine. If I need to make a new clapper box, well, I can make a new clapper box. That's not a huge deal. It just bit of machine work. But I think this one will work okay for the purposes I need. Yes, it's had a bit of an oops in its life at one point, but it's been repaired, and you know, as long as I don't push it really hard, it should be fine for what I need. And as for the draws, again, it's just a way of saying thank you to everybody who wants to come hang out in my shop with me. And, you don't have to be a subscriber to join the draws. I think it's cool if you are, but you certainly don't have to. And if the little channel keeps growing and I hit 5,000 subscribers at some point down the road, we'll do another draw. So I just find it fun to hear from everybody and to do the draws because it's fun. So, and that's kind of the whole point of this. I'm not making a living at this. We're all in this for fun. Just want to say thanks to everybody for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Thank you for the comments, and whoever pokes the little like button, that's really cool too. But one way or another, I just want to let everybody know how much I appreciate you. Thanks everybody. I'll see you next time.